I transitioned that to a TV show. And so I have the TV show going. We were in 2 million homes every week. And the magazine was going, and I was doing live shows. So I had like the trifecta as it relates to communication at the time. Today, the trifecta is Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. So, but at the time when we didn't have that, that was the trifecta, and that's what I managed by myself. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad, who lost his leg at age 17 on the baseball field. He was a superstar. This is all in the newspapers. You can actually go to newspapers.com and look up DeWitt Gilmore, and you'll see all this stuff. And he went and got a prosthesis and went back to the pitcher's mound. He went back to the pitcher's mound, and he was mowing down batters. He went on and he became a post worker. That means he was walking those streets with his prosthesis. He went on and he had a little candy store that turned into a delicatessen, that turned into 5 delicatessens, plus a liquor store, plus a laundromat, plus rental income properties, and a nightclub that turned into a very successful strip club known as Gilmore's. And so this was all in Mount Vernon. And I was dragged around like a fly on the wall through all of this. So I came up in royalty. I'm not saying it was like monetary royalty, because he didn't have the resources that we have today, right? He didn't have the fame or the popularity. But my dad, as I look back at him, I'm like, wow. Like 50 Cent got shot 9 times, but Mr. Gilmore, right, went around and with one leg, was the greatest show on earth. And so you asked me how I was doing. That's how I was doing. I was like the son of, so yeah.
How did he almost lose his leg then? Or did he lose his leg, did you say?
He did lose his leg. They had to sever it below the knee for fear of gangrene, because they said it wrong in the cast from the baseball accident. He was coming around third and he was sliding into home, and he tried to avoid the catcher, and in doing so, crack. And yeah, it's cringe. It's cringy. I'm so sorry, but this aligns me. When I see people out there with no arms and no legs, and I see people with one eye, or I see people with some sort of dysfunction, I understand. I understand the military. I understand your woes, because my dad was that guy, but he turned his lemons into lemonade. And that's who I am, Shaun. I'm a man who turns his lemons into lemonade. I'm not a thug that runs around the street shooting up people. I'm not like, if you had to do what you had to do, and you didn't hurt anybody, and you were out there selling dope, okay, hey, I'm kumbaya. That's your life. But my life was not that. My life was, I'm like the super nerd now, but I was a nerd at the time. I'm a super nerd now. But that's all I did was work, and my work ethic, and that's who I am. Like, from the heart, that's who I am.
So on the night then, did he try to unalive you? How did that day start for you?
Well, it's important to say how we met, right?
Yes.
Because Andre Harrell introduced us. I was a concert promoter back in the day at age 18 and 19. And the first big concert I brought to my hometown, Mount Vernon. And Run DMC was my headliner, and the Fat Boys were also a headliner, and the Force MDs were also a headliner. But Russell Simmons was my business partner. And Andre Harrell and his buddy Andre, they were a group called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And Andre, I met him because of that concert. He got paid very little, like $150, but he was on my stage, and we became good friends. And I hired him on occasion, and also bought radio time through him, because he would sell radio time during the day. So he's an executive during the day, and he took that same executive suit and got on stage and performed as a rapper, very popular, good legend. So we're at the bar at Bentley's, my friend's nightclub, and we're talking, and Shaun comes up and he says, "Hey, this is my intern, Puffy." So this is my very first time like meeting him officially, right? so I'm mad at Andre, right? But anyway, my very first time being introduced to Puffy, and we became business partners because just like I'm doing with Andre, I'm resourceful. I'm turning this into something. So we started doing we started planning a basketball game that turned into a very popular basketball game, right? My game was to take place in New Rochelle at New Rochelle High School. So I got the gymnasium, I had the radio station, which was Kiss FM, and we basically planned a basketball game as a charity fundraiser. But what Diddy did, I'm sorry, no pun. What Diddy did was he took my idea, and while I was so focused on my game, he was supposed to play on my team because I put the team together just for the purpose of the fundraiser. And what Diddy did was he took my idea and he scheduled a basketball game the day after inside sort of a neighboring town. And so basically we became ops. Like, he's okay, he's the competition. And look, not for nothing, I wasn't mad at him, but I was like, how dare he? So that's how we started. And then I ended up on TV, Shaun, because I was a thought leader at the time, and I was outspoken. And Diddy, after those people got trampled and stampeded at CCNY, he went missing, and they looked for him, and they couldn't find. They didn't know who he was, who's this Puff Daddy guy, and they called me. And I'm like, okay, so he's a party promoter. So tell us more. So I ended up on radio with Curtis Lewa on ABC, on Curtis and Lisa in the morning. And then I ended up on the Richard Bey Show. And the Richard Bey Show had some legends on stage with me: Dougie Fresh, Sister Soldier, William Kunstler, very popular lawyer, and some victims' families from CCNY. And so I am actually sitting in Diddy's seat. You understand? Because I'm the glue that knows exactly what happened, why, how, etc. The rappers don't know. William Kunstler doesn't know, and the families don't know. So I'm there explaining all, and I'm telling them this is what happened. So basically that turned us into more enemies, so to speak. So there you go. That's sort of the backstory. And so 5 years later, I have my security in my passenger seat and my intern with me. And we're going to these businesses, Shaun, picking up money from advertisers that advertise in the Superstar magazine, people that advertise in publication. And we're going to beauty salons and barbershops and nightclubs and so on and so forth. And I'm picking up money. We don't have Cash App, Apple Pay, none of that stuff for all of you people in the comments who like to troll and, you just don't know. I'm here to give you the details. I'm sorry it's long-winded. That's what we do.
No. We like people to take as much time as possible, give as much detail, and don't cut any long stories short.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so thank you for that, so I can inhale. Because, not for nothing, a lot of these shows or platforms I get on. I remember Good Morning America called me a few weeks ago. It was about a month now. And they called me one night and they texted me first. Hey, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. I know it's late, but we want to have you on the show. We don't have time in the block for an interview, but we'd like to showcase your book and your story. I'm like, are pigs pink? Of course you can. So I got on the phone with them. I'm looking at my lady. I'm like, bae, is this real? And it was real. So they said, hey, we love your story. You're already in our ecosystem, because I had been on ABC World News for my book writing. And so, yeah, they put me on. The next morning, I was like, my face. But it was, with ABC News, it's a serious entity. They have to fact check. They have to do all these things. And so, So anyway, the point is that I'm appreciative of your platform because it gives that time to inhale and to breathe and to give the details. And so that day, I meet a guy in Harlem on the way downtown, and he's giving out these Death Row T-shirts because they're wanting to start what they call Death Row East. And I am not affiliated with Death Row or Suge Knight or anything that's going on the West Coast. Hip hop, yes. Hip hop, yes. I raised a lot of these cats. You know, like I said, DJ Eddie F was my DJ before. And I told you, Andre Harrell and I did business. And of course, Russell Simmons and I did business. But I'm not the guy in the credits on the records. I'm not the guy, you know, that's getting royalties. You know, I'm the guy that owns his own and kind of sort of built, like I say, from the ground up, you know. And so I threw the t-shirt on, sure, you know. Oh, don't pay me nothing. I'll wear it. I'm supportive of unity. They wanted to unify the East Coast and the West Coast. That's what their story was. But of course, they want to make money. So I wear the T-shirt. I become a poster boy that night, and I basically, me and Lance and my intern, we head down to. And by the way, the intern's name was Rico. Um, I have been in touch with him. I don't know where he is. He could not be alive for all I know. I don't know. You know, God bless him if you're out there, because this is your story too, sir. Not for nothing, but your life was in jeopardy, just like Lance's life and mine. It's not. I know the night Puff tried to me, but it's us. Okay, I did that because the I'm a book writer. I know what a catchy title is. You understand? So anyway, we go now down to the last stop, which is a club called Downtime in Manhattan. And my buddy DJ Red Alert is playing that night at the club. And so they let us in front of the line, Shaun. It's a promoter's respect. They let you in front of the line, you go in, you're a promoter, we got you, you come in, and you're now promoting to this club full of people for an hour. And I leave the club. I have magazines in hand, you know, the whole thing. Nobody wants a magazine while they're partying, but hey, I'm not thinking that way. An hour later, we leave the club, and the street, which initially was bare, is now booming like a party outside because the folks can't get inside. The club's already sold out. The marshals at the door saying no more people in unless people can come out. But people don't care. They party in the street. There's cars. There's music. It's 1 o'clock in the morning now, and so we come out of the exit, and we head across the street. I'm driving in a Isuzu Trooper. It's parked across the street. I can see it. It's not far, and we go in the car. I get in the driver's seat. Lance is in the passenger seat, and the intern Rico, is in the back, and Puffy pulls up, but he's in the passenger seat, Shaun, and his bodyguard, Wolf, is driving. And they pull up to Rico first because there's windows down. It's a summer night. We have to put the windows down. And he says, "What's up?" And Rico goes, "What's up?" Everybody knows who Puffy was at least these circles. I mean, he was very popular at the time. He had already been a dancer. He'd already had Biggie. He already had Jodeci. He already had Mary. Like, he was popping in these streets, as they say. And so, and making money. Hey,
what year was it?
This was 96. Okay. This was 96. So, for all you fact checkers, if you see the records that had come out prior to 96, you'll see that, yes, he was very popular. Why you're pulling up to us? I'm telling you, Shaun, it was a mix of me being Gilmore and me wearing that T-shirt. And also our backstory, me being on stage when they couldn't find him. And by the way, I wasn't on that TV show saying, "Oh, Diddy's this or Puffy's this and Puff." No, I wasn't. I was just telling them what it is to promote a concert, a party, etc. Things they didn't know, Shaun. You understand? Things you might learn. You undoubtedly are learning things right now that you've never known before about Sean Combs, about Diddy, and about DeWitt Gilmore, right? And so that's what I did on the Richard Bay show. But still, he was clearly upset at me. Now, mind you, I told you there was 5 years that transpired between CCNY and this night. that Puff tried to kill me. Okay.
Had you interacted with him over those 5 years?
That's what it's important to say as well. So there was a number of times that we had run-ins, but they weren't kind. For instance, I told you I was a party promoter. And on one particular night, people like Mike Tyson in my party, people like, I mean, just very popular people. I don't have to name drop. But the marshal was at the door. That I'm gonna say that, and you all understand. When I say the marshal, that should be a book title. When I say the marshal is at the door, that means no more people are coming in and less people are coming out. And I had very successful, popular, very filled parties. And he came to the door at one of my parties, and he was trying to come in, and they called me to the door because they couldn't let him in. Like maybe I was the guy with the juice. Of course I was. It was my party. Puffy comes and he's got 10 people with him. If he was alone, maybe. But I can't let you in, bro. And I make a U-turn and go back in my party. Like like the kids say, the fuck? Right? Like, what are you doing? First of all, you're disrespectful. You come in with 10 people. And second of all, like, do you remember this face? So anyway, I didn't say all of that, Shaun. I'm telling you that things that popped in my head. But he left, no problem. He comes again to another event of mine, again, sold out, but this time times three. It's a big event at my dad's strip club. We have a big name porn star there, and their guys are lined up for a whole block, 4 men deep. And we're not letting anybody in unless we let people out. In fact, we're clearing the club 3 times for the night because we want to maximize on the entertainer. They're paying $25 and $30 a person to come into my event, which is nothing today, but at the time was a big ticket. And he comes again, and he wants to get in with his 10 people. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, number one, when you come in, we're supposed to let you in free as a promoter, respect. As an entertainer, you're a name, you're a big name. But no, bro, I can't let you in. And so I turned him away again. And then the third time that I saw him, we were at the Palladium, and I was invited to film Party and Bullshit. It was a live performance with Biggie and Pac. And I was behind the stage. You meet the entertainers. Francesca Spiro, God bless her, she's passed. She was putting it all together. Very good friend of mine, and I'm on stage filming. But during that event, I'm walking along the floor, the sort of the dance floor. There's a mob of people in there, but me and Puff pass each other. He doesn't have security. It's just him passing me, and I'm like, Puff, let's let bygones be bygones, bro. Like, we're gonna continue to see each other. Like, I'm in these spaces. I didn't say all of that, but I did say let's let bygones be bygones. And he's like kind of waved me off, like, F you. And then he turned around and he said, hey, come here. And I did, and we kind of like buddied out. And it's like, I guess that was supposed to kill it all. Shaun, at that moment, I was like, okay, I guess we're cool now, right? We kind of shook hands and gave the homeboy a hug, and that was it. But clearly not, because on this night that I was coming out of the nightclub, he pulls up, he says, "What's up to Rico?" And then he pulls up a little further. And by the way, when I say he pulls up, he wasn't at the steering wheel, folks. I know in London they drive on the passenger side, but not tonight. His bodyguard was taking his orders, and he was in the passenger seat, which says a lot of other things, Shaun. Who was in power if the bodyguard first pulls up to the back window and then pulls up to the front? Or either the bodyguard was just clairvoyant and saying, okay, let me just pull up to the back window. No, he was taking orders. So he basically, he pulled up to my window and he sees Lance and he kind of gives a nod. I guess they're kind of scoping things out, like who is with him. And then Lance kind of he doesn't give a F. He's here for me. Lance is there for me. And then he says to me, "What's up, bitch?" And not for nothing, but he was like about 2 or 3 feet from me because the car just kind of pulled right up and kind of parked. There's a car before me and a car after me, so I'm blocked in, and then I can't wiggle out of the space. By the way, we just got in the truck. What we just got in the truck, and a moment later he pulls up. I just need y'all to see like how this looks. There's a party in the street. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. They got music bouncing from cars. He's in a convertible sports car, very expensive convertible sports car, and he pulls up like, "What's up, bitch?" Like what you want to do, or whatever his was in his mind. But as I said, I feel like what triggered him was the Death Row East T-shirt, the my face, my seemed power. And it seemed power. Let's be clear. Yeah, I had a bodyguard, but I wasn't popping or popular. I was carrying money. Lance was there for a reason. Like, no, I was a wiry black 20-something-year-old with pockets of money thinking the world is mine, with an intern and a bodyguard. Like, who the F he think he is, right? So that, and then our back history, Puffy becoming, I think he was Sean Combs. He was Puff Daddy or P Diddy. I'm trying to go through the name changes. He was Puffy when I first met him, but by now he was Sean, Puff Daddy. He was Puff Daddy. He's Puffy. Now he's Puff Daddy. And so yeah, what's up, bitch? And I'm like, this is me. Look, bro, I don't want nothing to do with you. We know that you're drama. We know you're a troublemaker. Like, bro, not for nothing, Shaun. Look, your name's Shaun too. This is really twisted. So Shaun, I'm nothing. I'm trying to go home for the night. We had a busy day collecting money. I'm just trying to go home. And I wasn't even in the club partying, bro. I was in the club doing business. This was business. This was a business night. And so, nah, you're a bitch. That's what he says. And I'm like, all right, look, if I'm a bitch, show me I'm a bitch. Whatever. What are you gonna do? And so he looks over at his bodyguard. He's like, all right, whatever. The paraphrasing was, they backed the car up, and that's when I figured, okay, it's over. He's just talking shit, and he backs the car up, and I wiggle out of the parking space, and now I'm on my way home. We pull up to a traffic light, and Lance says, "Hey, he's behind you." And so I'm like, I shrug. I'm like, okay, well, I'm in a vehicle. He ain't doing nothing to me. I'm minding my business, whatever. And then so the light changes. I make a left turn, and now I'm in Herald Square. Now, for you and for those of you who have global, who are, hey, Herald Square is where the Macy's Day Parade takes place every year. You probably have seen it every year for decades. But this night at 1 in the morning, before social media or cameras in the sky, this was a empty sort of parking lot, really. And so I'm pulling about to approach Herald Square, and their sports car forces me off the road onto an embankment. And so now my Jeep is like sideways on an embankment. And Lance jumps out and I jump out. And I guess this is gonna be a fight, like a one-on-one. I don't what is this? What's going on here? So the adrenaline's rushing, but at that precise moment, we realize he's not alone. It's his car and 4 other vehicles that have ambushed us. And it was like split seconds and you're, please ask me any questions you want. I don't care, from the comments, Shaun, I'm there in this moment for you. No other reason. I don't give a fuck about a book. I mean, none of that. I get out of the truck, Lance gets out of the truck, and we realize we're not alone. Puffy, Diddy, and his bodyguard get out of their car. And that's when we hear pop, pop. And at the same time, Lance, gun, gun. And 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 I jump, like, we never connected. We were never 1 or 2 feet away from each other. It was just like everything happened so quickly. I jumped back in the car. Lance jumped back in the car. And now it's a car chase. And for the life of me, I've said this before, I feel like God stepped in, because there was no winning. It wasn't 4 cars and 4 people. It was 4 cars and 12 people. We were either going to get stomped out or shot up, and nobody would know. Nobody would know. Nobody from this year, this generation, last generation, like almost 30 years have passed. 2 children that I've sired. I'm at 200 books now, movie deals, like none of that would transpire if that night would have worked out the way Sean Combs dictated it. Like, he was living his life like a movie. Like, I'm the bad guy and nobody else matters. All you others are you know, are the others in the room. But at that moment, he was playing Grand Theft Auto with my life. And now these cars are chasing me down a one-way, on a sidewalk, around other cars, because there was some traffic out there that night. We're way past Macy's and Herald Square. Now I'm fighting for my effing life. I'm like, what the F is going on? Shaun, like, I've been in the military, the Marine Corps, where we take it apart M16s and put it in the battle, clack, clack, in 1 minute. And this night trumps that by 1,000. Like, nothing I've ever experienced in my life matches these moments. The gunshots, the fucking, the goons, none of it. And I bet none of it matched his life. He created this shit. He created it, whether it was a random act of violence or he dreamed it up every night for 5 years, which I doubt. This is a guy that just plays life like it's Russian roulette, or like it's a crap roll. This is what he was doing with my life and Lance's life and Rico's life that night. And had I not probably been in a Jeep, probably would have rolled over or probably got smashed by another vehicle. Like, the way I got away from this dude was that I ran a red light with an 18-wheeler coming and leaving them behind. This was a high-speed chase that came out of being shot at, that came out of some cursing, that came out of me knowing you, or me being on television, that came out of Andre Harrell introducing us at a nightclub. Like, that was, the entryway to my life and the lives of 2 others being threatened. Like, who could have planned that? who, like, I wasn't a troublemaker. He was the troublemaker. I wasn't like the big popular poppin' celebrity with the money and the hits and the notoriety. He was. But also I wasn't the guy with the guys with the guns and the you know, the power. I wasn't the guy. So I was, you know, I was vying for my life that night. And again, just at the steering wheel. There was one point Lance pulled the steering wheel to get me from crashing. I don't know if it was a hydrant or whatever. And again, we ran a light. And my immediate thought, with all of the, you know, anxiety going, look, this is very fitting. I've never done an interview like this in a car, but it's very fitting because that those moments that pass full of rage and, and hostility and anxiety and pent up aggression and, oh, like, we weren't thinking let's go to the police station. We were thinking where Lance carries. He's licensed to carry. He wasn't carrying that night. He didn't have a reason to. All we were doing was picking up money. We never got attacked for, you know, for picking up money. Nobody even knew we were out there picking up money. So my first intent was street justice. I wasn't thinking about going to the police station at all. Like, I did not deserve. We did not deserve what happened that night. We did not deserve it. I did not do anything like, you know, except for being a guy on TV or being a guy, you know, that turns you away from a nightclub, whatever fictions you want to create in your mind, Diddy. You had no right to put our lives in harm's way that night. You had no right. Like, that's not being human. That doesn't fit with procreation. That fits with being a menace to society. That fits with being the devil that you've become all these years that transpired after that, all the things that you've done to people. Yeah, there are some people that are probably trying to profiteer and opportunists and all these things. They know you're locked up and you can't fight for whatever. I don't care about that. I care about the victims, but I don't care about the others. I just know our story. And my story matches everybody else's story. You playing movie star with other people's lives. You playing the big bad guy, which you weren't. You were a coward with backup, with money and the I guess the inclination and the intent to do what you want in life with other people as your pawns. That's who you are, Diddy. And so that's what, Shaun, that's what happened that night. Again, I'm open to any questions. You know, generally, like, these interviews go down and people put questions in the comments, and you're welcome to ask them now because I'm here to answer them. You know, instead of you guessing why you waited 30 years or guessing why you didn't shoot back at him, you know, or why, you know, whatever hysteria is going on in your minds. I can't answer them after because it's too many of you. But I'm fine to answer them, you know, respectfully. Just like I'm a human being like you. Y'all got blood running through your veins, so do I. I'm not any more special. Like, I'm a guy that, again, turns lemons into lemonade. Come from a family of entrepreneurs who just, I have a strong work ethic. That's what puts me here. That's what keeps me here. That's what, and I have a passion. And that's what puts me here today. My passion for life. Because I matter. I might not have mattered to you that night, but me, Lance, Rico, we mattered. We mattered. Now we matter then. Yeah, there's no right to do what took place.
DeWitt, this is absolutely breathtaking, and I understand the trauma of it as well. we've had questions coming in for you since yesterday, so there's tons of questions. But I'm still not finished with you yet, because there's still a bit more I'd like to get into.
I'm not done with you yet.
So
and I'm clear because this last 48 hours is crazy. What's going on with Jay? And oh my God, please ask the questions.
Yeah, we're going to get to your thoughts on Jay. We're going to get to your thoughts on DeGeneres, the Kardashians, J-Lo, Natanya's story, all that stuff. But firstly, let's just go back to your story, and let's finish that. So, when the 4 cars surrounded you, in your head, then did you perceive something really heavy was about to go down?
So we didn't know the cars were there until the gunshots, until we got out of the vehicles, until we got out of the vehicle, did I realize there were that he wasn't alone. So I know I didn't know there were other cars. I probably would have never gotten out of the vehicle because my life was in yeah, there's no winning. I'm clear about, like, it's fight or flee. Kenny Rogers has a famous song. You know when to hold, know when to fold, know when to walk away, know when to run. That was run. That was run.
All right. So there was a situation, and then you guys took off, and then there was a